I'm Watch Eric, and on this review, we're gonna be going over the brand new Rolex Submariner 126610 LV Kermit. So if you're watching this video right now, you have found my new YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe because I have a lot of content on the way. Well, it looks like we got it already, and that was pretty fast. I was honestly thinking it was gonna take at least a couple months before we had these models in our hands to review. Usually in previous times, when the watches come out in Bezel World, it takes easily a couple months before they start flooding the market. But sure enough, I have one right here. And the first thing I want to say is that it doesn't look as big as I thought it would. It actually just looks the same exact size. The only difference is the lugs. The lugs play a major role because before in the maxi case, it definitely looked a bit more boxy, which I for one liked. It didn't bother me. I never felt like a Submariner was a big watch. It seems to just be a refined version of the previous sub, the 116610. The lugs make a big difference on any watch, and slimming down a bit for me, I kind of like it. At first I wasn't sure what they were doing there when they labeled it 41. I said, oh God, here we go again. But now that I have it in my hand, it actually feels the same way. When you put it on your wrist, still feels like the same watch. Does not feel any bigger or thicker. So that for me, right off the bat at first glance, is a win. So many people have emailed me, texted me, called me, DM'd, you name it, telling me that I had predicted that this watch was gonna come out when I slapped the Hulk bezel on my sub. I mean, I did not predict it. I never actually thought they would do that. Being that the Kermit hasn't been around long enough and it was an anniversary of the Submariner, I didn't think they would recreate that look. But sure enough, it happened, and it looks great. I brought for you guys today my recreation that I originally did because I wanted to compare side by side the green color of the bezel. And when you see them side by side, it's pretty much the same color. I mean, the only thing left to do is pop off the bezel and see if it actually fits from one watch to the other. So when it comes to this color combination, I mean, what is there not to like? The green bezel obviously pops with the black dial, so it's something that I've always liked. One thing I want to tell you on this review is that although I did bring one of my personal Kermits, I don't really want to sit there and do a comparison to the previous non-ceramic version. I just feel like it's pointless. We know that the maxi case was bigger. So if we're obviously quote unquote going to a bigger size case, the one that you would want to compare it to would be the 40. We've already compared it for the past 10 years from the previous non-ceramic to a ceramic sub. So the real comparison here would be from the maxi case to the new slimmed down, worked out version. So besides the 32-35 movement that the Submariner now comes with, when you look at it face to face at first glance, the obvious change is really just the lugs. You see, when the watches went from the previous 16610 to the 116610, there was many changes that weren't just the maxi case. You had also thicker hands, thicker dial indicators. All those things aesthetically make the watch look bigger. When you look at the watch face to face, side by side, the lugs is really what it's all about. I feel like this was the Submariner release of the lugs. Besides all of that I just said, the other obvious change is gonna be on the clasp, and that I wanna talk to you about. So the new Rolex Submariner now comes with a thicker bracelet, and I'm talking about not just the clasp, the entire thing, from the end pieces all the way down. I mean, I guess, you know, how do you make a watch that's already pretty much almost the perfect, most indestructible, best-selling watch in the world better? I mean, you gotta do something. Could you imagine the pressure that these guys are under over there to deliver for us? We don't really know what the name of this watch is yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and just call it the Ceramic Kermit. That's the name I'm picking, and I'm sticking to it. So they made the bracelet a bit thicker, which would also appear to make the watch look not as big. The proportions are right on this watch. I think they didn't kill it. I feel that now that I'm looking at this one and you look at the non-ceramic version, the maxi case did stick out a little bit more. Whereas if they would have put this bracelet on a maxi case, then the watch would have just really looked super big. But that being said, I think what I maybe would have preferred would have been perhaps for the bracelet to have tapered down a little bit. I'm not exactly too crazy about the new thicker clasp. I mean, it may be close in size to the new 43mm Sea Dweller, but I feel that perhaps it might be too thick of a clasp for this watch. I mean, anytime I wore a sub, and I think a lot of you can relate at home, I never felt that the bracelet was too thin to carry the watch head. You know, one watch that did have too narrow of a bracelet was the original Deep Sea, and that's why they updated it with a thicker clasp. But for the sub, I'm not really sold if that was the right thing to do. But besides all of that, overall, I think the watch is really nice, and I think they really just said 41mm just to say 41. Many people have measured it, and I measured it myself, and it's really actually 0.5 millimeter thicker than the previous one. Prices. Retail price of this watch is $9,550. But we're gonna have to see what happens with the market, because like anything, when it first comes out, the over retail is nuts. I've seen some for sale on the first week of its release going for $23,000, $24,000. I mean, will they sell? I don't know. Some people have enough money, don't really care, and they just wanna be the first ones. My only bone to pick on that price is there's a lot of other options for that money. You know, you can almost get an AP at that price. Do I like the watch? Absolutely. I think it looks great. And I don't have a problem myself paying a little bit over retail. I would just say that perhaps maybe the prices will simmer back down. Maybe they'll settle back in the area of $17,000 to $18,000. But for right now, they're gonna be pushing over 20 if you wanna be one of the first ones to have this watch. The only thing about this new watch is that it obviously killed all the fun that I was having with my Hulk bezel on my standard sub, because now it obviously looks like I'm perpetrating. So for me, it just completely killed it. Now it's like, everybody goes, oh my God, is that the new one? And I got to be like, no, it's just a bezel. So the bottom line, the new sub is out, 41mm. It does not look big. It fits good on the wrist. Rolex knows what they're doing. I don't know why we even doubted them for a second. I knew I was gonna have to see it in my hand to make a final decision, and I like it. Overall, I like it. I guess it'll take some time to get used to the new clasp, but for me, it's a win. Hot watch in the market, and we'll have to wait and see how the market reacts throughout its lifespan. So feel free to comment below what you think about the new Kermit in ceramic. And if you like this video, like and share it. Also, subscribe to my new channel.